Hello, I'm Glenn W. Hunter, and with me today is Shor Denny of Community Now, and this is the 3 C's of social emotional learning: communication, community, and collaboration. Shor, we have a lot to discuss today. A lot of friction happening in our community, and it all comes back to young people adapting and using SEL skills. Are you ready to enlighten our audience?
I'm ready to talk. Let's see what comes out of it.
Very good. Well, let's jump right in. Today's topic is mask or no mask. What is truth? And what we really want to do is focus on the perspective of the pandemic. We can't seem to get away from COVID-19. It is changing the way that we actually experience life. Not just now, but when you consider what it's doing with our youth into the foreseeable future. But we want to see what's going on with them in their daily lives. So, sure, the first question I want to have with regards to that interaction with the pandemic is, what would you say is our youth's point of view on the dangers of COVID-19?
It's going to be mixed. It's going to be really mixed, right? You're going to have the kids that, and I think it's going to have a lot to do with the family unit and what they're hearing at home. And we are coming out of quarantine. The other day I went riding. I had an errand to run, and I saw youth out and about, which is new. I haven't seen kids out for a while, but there were a group of kids on the corner, and some had on masks and some didn't. So I think that a lot of it has to do with the family, what the family believes, the risk factors of that family that the kids are coming from, as well as being cool, right? So you're going to have the kids on the corner that maybe had a mask on when they walked out the house, but they took that mask off. They're out being cool with their friends. And now they're laughing at the kids that are coming up with the masks, right? You know, now it could be peer pressure against wearing the masks and being safe, because they're like, we're not going to get it anyway, right? You know, they're the carrier. So I think a lot of it's going to have to do with the risk factor in their homes on how strong they pay attention to the mask rule.
You know, what's interesting, you talk about the risk factor at home and that social pressure. I mean, it comes out in teasing in a lot of ways. And there's, that's classic. That's actually a classic part of human growing up. But with regards to mask, they're actually exerting pressure to resist the mask among young people, right? I'm not going to wear one, and I'm going to impose my vision on you. What are these young people thinking with that mindset?
What are we all thinking, right? What do we know? What is the truth? Right now, we're looking at, they're saying that more than 100,000 people have died from the coronavirus, but we don't see it. We're not seeing it individually. Our families, most people don't know anyone in their immediate family that has been impacted by this. You've got to kind of go out to friends that know people. So it comes down to who do you believe? Do you believe the media source? Do you believe the hospitals? Do you believe, because we've been quarantined for over 60 days. I've been in quarantine since, my historic day is March 18th. I went into quarantine, and I tell you, it's been crazy since. But with that long time indoors, who knows? There aren't even any funerals anymore. So when you're saying that, so-and-so died, we're not seeing that funeral procession. There's no finality. It's almost like they moved to another state rather than, we're not feeling that statewide, countywide neighborhood grief that, we would if we saw the bodies dropping right in the street. So I think that a lot of our youth are and the families of these youth, we have that conflict of what is truth, what is real. Should we wear a mask? Is that the truth, or shouldn't we? But the dynamic again with the youth is that right now they're saying that they're the least to get sick. It's not like they don't, right? There's no definites on this thing that is going around, but they are the least likely. And with them being the least likely, they're out there, when I was 15, And I think back when I was 15, I thought I would live forever, right? I didn't think anything could harm me. I almost think that today. So with our youth, we're going to think that they are going to be in that state that we all were in, where we thought that we were, invincible. And they're probably through peer pressure, unfortunately, going to be out there without masks.
Now, I find it particularly curious that they're receiving pressure from their peers to not wear masks and embrace the risk. Meanwhile, you have older family members who are exerting a lot of pressure for young people to be safer. Now, in a sense, this is a age-old problem. You know, don't cross the street, hold hands when you're crossing the street. Um, and now this new generation is making these decisions, but they're literally, from what we're being told, life and death consequences, not just with strangers, but back in your own family unit. So in the name of being safer, you think social distancing is one of the things that's constantly being bombarded into our consciousness as a way to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Do parents have realistic concerns in re-emphasizing this concept of social distancing with their children when they just want to hang out and have fun?
There are some huge concerns. And again, I'm really going to put more emphasis on the risk factor at home. But there are huge concerns. I don't think that Joey, whose brother is very asthmatic, is going to be as easy to encourage to take off their mask and to not social distance than Molly, who comes from a family with no real, deep risk factors, right? So I mean, so it's going to come down to if you're the horror of the guilt of bringing the illness back to those with high risk factors, even to those without, because right now, let's face it, we don't know what's going on. We don't know the symptoms of this are so huge, and there are so many different ways that they are saying that this particular virus can impact our lives that we really don't know what we can do and not do. We just know that if we wear the mask and stay away from people, that we'll be okay. But at 15, 16, your hormones are going there. The life development stages that these youth are in, I just can't call it reasonable to think that these youth are not going to be doing what they normally do, push and play and, hug and kiss and, the things that they were doing before this pandemic. I think they're going to be really excited to get back into doing.
What I find particularly challenging is that there seems to be a neglect of just plain human responsibility. There's a sense of self-centeredness that's being perpetuated in this generation. And I choose the word of perpetuated because in previous generations, I think we were pretty egotistical as well. But when you're talking about generational health, are youth exonerated from the responsibility of keeping the household healthy as a whole?
Of course not. And that information should be coming from the home. It should be coming from media and from their school environment as they are exiting that environment, right? Of course, they have a responsibility. And right now, they have a huge responsibility on their shoulders. And we'll see how they deal with that responsibility. We right now see that adults have a huge responsibility of protecting others, and we're not really seeing that. Memorial Day weekend, there were a lot of parties, no social distancing across the country. That people want to be out. We want to be out. I want to socialize so badly. I want to go and be around the human race and talk to people that I haven't been in a house with for 3 months. And I want to do the same as everyone else. I want the sun on my skin. I'd love to go to the beach. But we all have a human responsibility to each other. And that's where the mask comes in. That's where the social distancing comes in. If you don't care about yourself, the community is asking that you care about the ones that you love and not taking it back to them. We ask that if you don't believe this, if your social media or your information source is saying that this is a lie, we're simply saying, please be respectful of those who do believe it. Be respectful of the human race, and wear a mask. Just caution on the side of air, you know. Um, it's not going to harm us. The mask doesn't do anything to make, it doesn't do anything. It's a time that we are in. And I think that we need to embrace that. We need to embrace the mask. We need to embrace the social distancing as a way for us to get out of the home, a way for us to get back around each other. And we're really just going to have to gauge it from there.
Huh. Do you think it's fair to say that the mask is a metaphor for generational tension overall?
No, and only because it's so multi-generational, this dispute with the mask. We have a 74, 70 something year old president that's not wearing a mask. So it's not as if the youth are getting all one message, right? Our youth are getting mixed messages from the generations above them. So I don't think it's as generational as it is mindset. And again, we go to what is the truth anymore? We are literally in the last 4 years have been in a state of truthlessness. Everything is the truth. You say it, it's the truth. Whatever way you want it is the truth. So in this atmosphere, I think that we have a lot of people who rightly are challenging what's being done. They are skeptical that what is happening to us and the fact that we're not working has to be that, this is all for naught. But I would caution, and I would say that the whole world has shut down. This is not a California thing. This is not a United States thing. Egypt is feeling this flu. Germany is feeling the flu. Everybody, their economies have shut down. Everyone is going through something here. So I think we need to look at the much bigger impact of this and say something is happening. Let's respect humans. Let's respect each other, and let's just do these two things that we can do to maybe protect the life of someone that we love, hoping that someone else will do it. If my husband goes back, when he goes back to work, someone at work I hope is going to wear a mask and respect what's going on so that my husband doesn't get sick and bring it back. When I go back out into the world, my daughter who has asthma is hoping that the people that I am going to be around are going to respect life enough to protect themselves, to protect me, so that I don't bring this home to my asthmatic daughter, right? So it's like I'm going to really go there. It's like an STD, right? When I come around you, I'm not just around you now. Now I'm around whoever you've been around, right? If you don't wear a mask, I'm exposed to whoever you've been exposed to. And I think we need to look at it that way. It's not just me anymore. It's everyone I've been around.
Okay. Just sort of wrapping this up, and I can't resist a good conspiracy theory. There are accusations concerning misinformation regarding whether society is truly enduring a pandemic. How is this belief affecting our community?
It's thrown us into an uproar, not just our community, our homes. I live in a home and we all have different media sources. We all listen to different information and we all come up with our own ideas. I think the key is to bring all of that together and hash it out and come up with a general understanding within the home, within the community, if we can. That's why these podcasts are so important, because we are talking about things that need to be talked about within our homes, between husband and wife, between daughter and husband, between, our daughter and father, between all of us. We need to have these conversations so that we understand and are aware. There is misinformation out there. Who do you believe? My husband and I talk about it all the time. He doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe that this is going on. I do. So what we did is we have a compromise, and in compromising, he will wear a mask when he's out, and he will take the precautions because he loves us and does not want to bring it back to us. It has nothing to do with if he believes that it's happening. So I'm asking all family members to take that kind of a stance. If you love the one that you're with, if you love your family, try not to bring this back to them. And that's by being safe while you are out there. Misinformation or not, people are dying. We may not see the funerals, but people are dying. And country worldwide, people are dying. So we don't even have to trust our government. We can look at everybody else's government and see that this is going on. So please, from a mental health and trauma informed perspective, I would say that through this time of community trauma, the thing that we need to be doing is looking for safety. What is safe? And not go out if you don't feel safe. Being safe would be wearing the mask. Being safe would be making sure that you're social distancing and that you are only, if you're going to get closer, you're only with people that you know do not have and have been quarantined or do not have a chance of getting this disease, or bringing it to you. So if you right now we're getting ready, we're in re-entry. How do I communicate with my best friend down the street? How's my if I had a 10-year-old, how's my 10-year-old going to get and start hanging with their best friend again, right? When this is all that we're talking about. I'm going to mask my child. I'm going to make sure that my child has the disinfectant to have on their hands, and I'm going to equip my child with the tools and verbally with the understanding that they can harm others, not just themselves when they go out in the street. Our youth need to know that they are the ambassadors of their home now, and that they are gatekeepers, and that they have the responsibility that we all do. It's a new age. They have to grow up to that. They have to know. And if not, we're putting our families and our communities at risk. Wear the mask, please, so that my daughter doesn't get sick. Wear the mask, please, so that you do not get sick and that we don't have to deal with the guilt. Just think, if I go out and I go somewhere and I'm being a bit irresponsible and I come back home and my family gets ill, the guilt that I'm going to feel, the guilt of the child, the guilt that is going to be there, that's going to be a whole nother topic on how to deal with that and, how to become mentally well while you're trying to go through that type of a situation would be a whole conversation on its own. Safety is the key. Safety will always keep you safe, mentally well and physically well. So please reduce your stress. Make sure you wash those masks when they come back in every day. If they wear gloves, make them disposable, throw those gloves away. Got to get a lot of gloves because you're going to be throwing a lot of gloves away. Once it's touched, it's contaminated, throw them away, get new ones. But misinformation or not, something is happening worldwide. Let's just pay attention to that and caution on the side of error.
Well, Shor, I believe that wraps it up. I mean, a lot of good facts coming out, everyone. At least I intend that they are. Again, we have Shor Denny, president of Community Now. I'm Glenn W. Hunter, Hunter and Beyond LLC. And these are the 3 C's of SEL: communication, community, collaboration. And we feel that these are components of building community that are going to help strengthen us as we get through this pandemic. Hopefully we've stimulated some conversation. If not, ask your peers, challenge them. But let's work together, let's be safe, and let's get through this, and let's embrace the new normal for a more productive society.
Amen, a new normal. Remember to like us, subscribe, share, comments. Let us know what you want to talk about so that we can bring these topics up. And don't be afraid to talk about these things with your family.
Thank you again.
Be well.